Well, time now for some business news, and Yuka Royer joins me on the set. Morning to you, Yuka. No surprise, really, beginning with the troubled Chinese property developer Evergrande, which appears to have missed a payment deadline.
A closely watched interest payment worth over $83 million had a deadline of noon in Hong Kong and 6 p.m. here in Paris. That has passed without any announcement from the company. Evergrande had said that it would make the payment, easing concerns in global stock markets earlier in the week. But now investors are once again in the dark as the company has entered a 30-day grace period. It will potentially go bankrupt if it defaults, if that period passes without payment. Evergrande has a total debt load of $305 billion. That's a larger amount than GDP of Pakistan. Now, Evergrande's share price plunged about 13% this Friday after surging the day before. The company has lost almost 80% of its share value over the past year. Overall, Asian markets were mixed this Friday. Tokyo rose 2% after a public holiday closure. Investors and banks here in Europe are also closely watching Evergrande's situation. Major markets here opened in the red this Friday, with Frankfurt's down over 0.6%.
And recent supply disruptions have caused a headache for many companies around the world. You could hear in France, a renowned glassmaker may soon have to seek government help.
A company called Arc France is in trouble. Despite a bulging order book and a sound production capacity, it has faced months of inner turmoil. But just a few months ago, the company hired 225 new staff to add to its 9,000-strong global workforce. So what has gone wrong? Camille Nederlack has the story.
This is the world's largest glass production plant in the northwest of France. Arc France makes a total of 4.3 million items of tableware every day for hotels and restaurants. But while these glasses are perfectly clear, the company's future is not, as it struggles with supply chain issues.
Là, on a typiquement des cartons dont on a besoin pour pouvoir empaqueter nos produits. Il y a une crise en Europe où tout le monde manque de carton. Ça ralentit les expéditions pendant l'été.
In the wake of these difficulties, the CEO of the company stepped down earlier in September, and the current leadership hasn't ruled out asking for state support.
On va avoir besoin d'un financement temporaire au cours de l'année 2022. On va potentiellement faire appel à l'État, mais rien n'est décidé à ce jour.
The French government has already stepped in twice as Arc France struggled during the pandemic. In May 2020, it was given a €31 million loan, and 2 months later, another €108 million. Just a few weeks ago, the French junior minister for industry, Agnès Pannier-Runacher, visited the site and assured the group of her support, but now warns that the firm's leadership will have to take responsibility for the crisis. The government requires the group to undergo an audit before getting any further funding. But Arc France's employees are feeling positive.
Les gens travaillent et sont dans une très bonne dynamique et voilà, il faut être confiant pour l'avenir et je le suis.
The firm says that despite the funding shortfall, no jobs will be lost.
Well, one of the most influential executives in Russia's natural gas industry has been arrested in the United States.
Mark Getbay was the deputy head and chief financial officer of Novatek. He has been charged by US authorities with tax fraud. According to the Department of Justice, the Russian businessman is accused of stashing away $93 million worth of assets in offshore accounts. He is a dual Russian and US national and lives in Florida. The tax charges stem from his illegal activities between 2005 and 2016, and he faces a lengthy prison sentence if convicted.
And finally from you, Yuka, a call to do more to crack down on misbehaving passengers on American flights.
Well, I wonder if you've been, if you've recently been on a flight, passenger flight to America, but we've seen domestic flights, we've seen pictures emerging from domestic flights, like real brawls and fist fights taking place. Now, lawmakers and airline companies are pushing for new actions amid rising reports of unruly passenger incidents. After people started flying again post-pandemic, airlines saw a big jump in bad behaviour, arguments and fights on board, with many caused by passengers unhappy about having to wear a mask. Delta Airlines says that since the pandemic, it has put more than 1,600 people on its no-fly list. United has banned more than 1,000 passengers. There are calls for US airlines to share their passenger blacklist, and this is the FAA, the Federal Aviation Authority, calling for airlines to do more to tackle this problem.
Yuka, I doubt you're an unruly passenger, right?
I may be an unruly pilot, not a passenger.
All right. Thank you very much, Yuka. Yuka spilling the beans a little bit about our private time being a pilot while she's not working on the business